Play, whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball, I'm a respawn of ancestors, and I'm blessed, They are not him, tell him fess up, I get checked up, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless, yeah, I got next up, right, now we not the same, cause see when I look in your iris, you likely to talk but not ready to ride, you do better keeping it quiet, my pen is ignited, my soul is enlightened, I like who I am, but I'm biased, the pilot is right, and my drip is a fountain, I'm not like these regular guys, all of that talk is misguided, she like the way I make the tape print, but the way I make the words play is grim. I'm the reaper reaching for the kill switch, the label cut the check like the bladesman. Something sparking where his brain is. The beat is somewhere where their prayers in. Geronimo, the way I make the bass jump when no parachute is tasted.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Throwing Hands right here on ASAP Sports. What's going on, Josh?
Hey, what's going on, man? Sorry about that. I know I was supposed to open. For some reason, it just like froze on the intro. I was like, wait a second. Is it still going or not?
No, it's totally fine. We improvise around here. But how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just been nonstop busy, but otherwise I'm doing good. How about yourself, man?
Same, man. Same. Nonstop busy, trying to prepare, get ready, get all the ducks in order. Football season's coming up, so trying to get all those credentials lined up, get everything set up for that too. So been pretty busy, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I bet doing all that extra stuff.
But what we got coming up this weekend? We got Bellator 283, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We got Bellator 283. I was just actually, I know what we're gonna talk about. I was doing those pre-fight interviews with them.
Oh, you froze up a little bit. Yeah, you were just doing the pre-fight interviews the other day, right?
Yeah, I was doing it just yesterday. So I didn't interview too many guys, but I interviewed Roman Feraldo, Dalton Rosta, Romero, and I did manage to get Jason Jackson, and I interviewed a couple other people, but I kind of butchered those ones.
Nah, you did good in my book. We talked about that. Shoot, the first time I messed up on my own name, so at least you didn't do that.
I almost messed up the name for ASAP because I was that with Jason. You have posted. I was just straight up like, I went to it like, this is all network. No, sorry, this is, but I carried it thankfully. I'd have to say Jason one was probably one of my better reviews.
Right. I actually have that video. We're gonna go ahead and show it real quick. Let's see.
Is it playing? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
No, I can't. I think my connection may just be a little iffy. I have all my stuff turned off extra, so I think just the weather here is kind of affecting me a bit.
Okay, well we'll try again. Maybe I didn't get the yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do it right, I don't think. So we'll try it one more time. I think
Okay.
this one will get it.
If the show isn't fully up to par, blame my internet.
No worries, no worries. We're gonna get it down though.
Yeah, hi Jason. This is Josh with All Sports or ASAP Sports Network. How you doing?
Doing awesome.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So I wanted to immediately start with asking for you. So in a hypothetical, say you come home with the W this weekend and you're ranked just right in the top 5, right there next for a title shot. How soon would you want to push for a title shot following this?
Well, it's out of my control after I win this fight because I already told that, they trying to unify the interim title and the champion. And only way this could happen soon, unless the fight happen and the last day of a weigh-in, somebody get hurt, and I'm like, hey, Jason Jackson's here, well, willing to cut that weight and get in there within less than 24 hours, I would do it. That's the only way I can see myself making it happen. But other than that, it's out of my control until Mike Hogan or Scott Coker said, Jason, it's you.
Very true. Very true. And then a question I always like to ask fighters to kind of pick their brain. Because with fighters, when they fight, they look for either legacy, they either look for the fame or money or to provide simply. What's kind of your ambitions with becoming a fighter? Is it for that legacy purpose or, like, example, to bring something inspiring back home to Jamaica?
All the above. I want to have a good life just like every other fighter who make it. And I want to have a legacy. I want to win fights. And I love the sport as well. I love to fight. And, I want to do it all. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't want everything that comes with the sport. Because I do want, except for the fame. Not too much into the fame, but other than that, everything else, I want it. That's why I'm always on the hoodie, because I don't really care about the fame.
That's what I love to hear. Thank you so much for your time, Jason. Good luck to you, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, no, and that was big. I mean, to me, just hearing him that last question, first of all, I'm glad that you asked that last question. And his answer made me like your question even more. Because again, him saying that part, I'm not there for the fame. That's what the hoodie's for, to zone out all that extra stuff. And being where he is from, him carrying that on his back, with that, it does mean a lot. And you could hear the passion in his answer, and when he was answering it, that he is very passionate about this. He wants that title shot. Um, like he said, it's out of his control. He feels like, without saying it, he kind of feels like, it sounded like he felt like, I should say, that they already made the decision. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah. And it seemed like if the opportunity presented itself, he really would want to take the title shot next. But yeah, as he was saying with that, and then yeah, I'm glad I did ask that second question, because that's always a question I like to ask fighters. Because I mean, like Derek Lewis, for example, he primarily fights just to make money and take care of his family. But then you have different fighters like GSP or like Israel Adesanya that are like this legacy to immortalize them. So I always love fighters, just that, especially too, something rooted and brings a lot of motivation with him. Like if he starts bringing this MMA back to Jamaica, start inspiring more kids there, and who knows, him doing that could spark a future generation of potential champions. Or
So you were cutting up a little bit there towards the end, but you're right. It is something that can inspire future champions and do a lot for upcoming fighters. It does mean a lot. And if you heard a little bit more at the weigh-ins with the interviews with him, someone asked him, how do you feel about this coming in, fighting Lima? And he said it himself, Lima's a proven champion. He's dangerous at any time. He's a veteran. And, hopefully after this fight, it solidifies, who I am and what I'm here for. Now that brings me to today. So today was the official weigh-ins. Yesterday was, I kept saying weigh-ins, but yesterday was the media day. Today was official weigh-ins. After releasing, let me go in here because I don't want to say it wrong, but I believe that Lima missed weight.
yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I was actually kind of surprised. Let me look up
So
too.
Douglas Lima came in at 172.8. Jason Jackson came in at 171. So
Oh
technically
yeah,
Lima missed weight.
yeah. because they offer the 1 pound. They only allow the 1 pound weight difference. If you're one over, you're good. But the moment you break even like
It,
1.1,
is it 1 pound? So is it 171 or 172? Because I thought it was 172 and he was 0.8 over, and they only allow a half pound.
is it? I could be wrong. I know it kind of varies promotion to promotion. Some will only allow like a 1 pound difference versus others, or maybe it just kind of depends on the commission. Because, like for example, for Rough Nation, when I was in the back, they were kind of go over the rules with it. You're only allowed like a 1 pound weight difference, so it could just be it could just vary.
It could vary by promotion to promotion, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. They're welterweights. Let's check real quick. It's not showing me. But I think it is 172.
Yeah. I'll be
But
surprised if it is.
anyways, how does that fare? You know, oh, it's 170. It's 170.
Oh, so it has to be 170?
Yeah, so you're right. He does get that 1 pound, which Jackson was at 171. And Lima came in at 2.8 pounds higher. So
Okay.
so Lima misses weight. So now Jason Jackson's ranked number 4 in the Bellator rankings for welterweights, and Douglas Lima is ranked number 3. Now, does this really take a hit? Does Jackson kind of get I don't want to say a pass, but does this kind of help him in a sense of his ranking status that Lima did miss weight? So even if he does lose here, is it kind of a wash, or does he think he still drops 2, 3, 4 spots with the loss to Lima after this?
Now it is kind of because it's how much of a weight miss there is. Charles Oliveira, it was like a half pound, which isn't really all that much concerning, but this is almost 2 pounds over the limit. So
Almost 3 pounds, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it may take a little bit to that solidification, but otherwise, honestly, I think it won't make too much of it because still at the end of the day, it wasn't really too much of a big variance. And Douglas Lima, he's still dangerous. He's still a lethal fighter, and he's like Jason said during the pre-fight. And he's the gatekeeper. If you could beat him, then that solidifies your position to be able to fight for that title. So I don't think it'll affect it too much.
I hope not. I think Jason is a great fighter. I think he deserves his chance. And it's definitely something that he should get regardless of what happens with this next fight. I think his day should be coming here soon. And if he wins this fight, it should be his next fight. He should be fighting for the belt, which the way we look at it, I know he probably wants to get back into the octagon right away. So I doubt he waits it out because it's going to be a few months before that fight's booked, that title fight in the welterweight division to unify that title. And then he's going to have to wait for them to heal. So it'll be almost 6-7 months before he gets that fight.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking about after he answered that. With they're wanting to unify it first and everything. So I low key, just because of the passion you see with Jason, I hope that maybe something does fall out and it kind of works in his favor to get that title shot. But yeah, he'll probably have. Yeah, of course. Hypothetically, but that'd probably be about like 5-6 months. And any type of layoff as a fighter can be detrimental because that ring rust, and people are always kind of like half and half. It exists, it doesn't exist, but still,
it exists.
Yeah, and as a fighter, every fighter has an expiration date, so they only have so much time to reach this level of greatness.
I'm not a fighter, and my knees, they didn't tell me my expiration date's soon. You know what I mean? So no, it's the truth. You naturally, you naturally, every athlete, you have your day. You have your day where, if you're a basketball player, you ain't dunking the same. If you a football player, you ain't hitting an angle the same. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's just like that. No matter what type of athlete you are, we have our day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is more so you're supposed to do what you can while you're at tip top shape.
Yeah. Exactly. Like best just Muhammad Ali was phenomenal at the peak, but then the whole conflict with War and him declining the draft, and that put him out for so long, and then he lost those years, and it's just he seemed like he was fully the same when he came back. He was just more prone to take shots and everything. And a fighter, it's again the fighting industry is extremely unforgiving, and you see a lot of fighters in the long term they have some health from because of the damage they take. So it's that time is so precious.
Right. And then like you said, it's unforgiving and it's win, lose or draw. It's not like, oh well, he won that fight. No, it's win, lose or draw. You go into a fight, whether you win that fight or you lose that fight, you're walking away with damage.
Hmm.
And that stuff adds up. And like you said, you want to have meaningful fights because you can only have so many, over time. Um, which is definitely right. You know, we can take a look here, before we get into it. Or actually, question for you. You know, is Michael Page and Jason Jackson, is that a fight that we could possibly see before Jason gets a title shot?
Honestly, I was thinking about that already. I really would love to see Jackson match up because that would just be now that right there would be an interesting matchup just because the skill Page has, and he keeps that ranking their top three. So I would love to see that fight. But is he back to or is he over at the bare knuckle fighting? Because apparently, from what I was seeing, there was like rumors that he was going to be fighting Murray.
Yeah. No, he went over to bare knuckle. There's still the possibility that, he comes back here. Um, yeah, John, no, we're gonna get into O'Malley here in a minute. Um, we're gonna definitely get into O'Malley. We'll talk about 283, O'Malley,
Mm,
Henry Cerrito, all that good stuff.
mm.
But you know, that's one of those things. If Michael Page does come back, Jason, you got to fight.
Yeah.
If Michael Page doesn't come back, that's when we're looking at the rankings there, and I'm like, okay, does he fight Gracie? No, he just beat up Gracie. Um, I mean, where does he go down? Then you're going downwards because he's gonna be like second, third at this point. He's gonna be right around there. So then you're going down to like Derek Anderson and Koroshaw. Like, I don't know. It's not gonna work. It's a wash
Mm.
fight at that point, and it's kind of more risky for him than anything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of like the matchup right Fick and Sydney. Because Sydney, he's the one ranked light, if I remember correctly, in the Bellator. And Tofik, this is his Bellator debut. He's not using the system, and so this would be a huge risk for Sydney, but it's an
Right.
opportunity for Tofik. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, and we'll take a look here at some of the weigh-in photos from the other day, and he just looks like he means business right there. Yeah, Jason looked like he makes business. But
Oh yeah.
another fight on that card, uh, we can't go anywhere without talking about it. our good boy, our good dude, Mark is gonna be on that fight on that card.
Mm.
Um, you know, and he's actually sporting a new look.
Yeah.
So that was surprising to see. But like we were talking about earlier in the chat, he did say, he's a new man from what he was, the fighter that the people knew beforehand. So maybe this is part of that transformation, and this is kind of that last move that needed to be made before he jumped back in the
Mm.
octagon.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Because since this is his Bellator debut, it's the new man. So he's like, this is the birth of the new Marky Mark. It's where you're gonna see a rampage go. Very, very excited for him. Yeah, no, I thought he was gonna rock the cornrow style he did like last time. So as soon as I saw he had the shaved head, I was like, oh crap, okay, you're gonna represent. There we go.
Right. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my goodness, he lost the braids. He came out like, I'm here for business.
Yes.
He looks good. He looks like he had a good camp. He looks stronger as far as muscle mass compared to the rough when we saw him last time. Like he
Mhm.
looks good, and I'm rooting for him. He said he's the second fight on the card, so we got to catch it early, but I'm rooting for him. And he's not fighting a pushover at all.
Mhm.
So this should be a really good bout. Um, what are you kind of what are you feeling? How are you feeling going into it on this one?
I could ask what question again?
I said, how do you feel with this going into this one?
So I honestly same thing. I'm rooting for Mark because it's having got to meet him on a personal level and then also to hear how serious of a struggle he's also had leading up to the fight and everything with his family and whatnot. I definitely have my personal bias. I really want him to win. But I know he's like you could tell he's all business. He's in his element. He's rocking the bald head with beard I'm jealous of, and he looks absolutely phenomenal. Shit. I'm jealous of the beard. I look like Patio O'Houlihan with my stuff. Just over here looking handsome with a beard.
Hey man, I only got the chin strap. I don't even got the full chin strap. I just got the little goat. You know.
I got I got a ginger chin strap. Like I got some ginger, but it only comes out on my face. Man, no, I'm
No,
excited. I know this will be a tough match for him, but I believe he's gonna get the W, hands down.
yeah, no, he really looks like he's in. He's ready. And again, like you said, I'm just hoping that everything goes smooth for him and he comes
Mm.
out with that victory. It's gonna be a good one. It's definitely gonna be a good one. Because Mark's like we said a couple times, Mark's ready.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I know too the last view that we did with him, we were cracking jokes saying because since him and Sean got the beef going right now, he was like, okay, Sean gets a win, I'm gonna get a win. Moves up in rankings, I'm gonna move up in rankings. So now I'm like kind of too. So if Sean O'Malley eye poke, I really hope Mark doesn't get an eye poke either.
Hey, yeah, we don't need that, and that's a good segue into it. Yeah. So,
On wood.
John, I felt the same way live, and me and Josh talked about this in the last episode a little bit. That I felt the same way live. I was cussing at the TV. I was yelling and screaming. I'm like, that's bullshit. There's no freaking way. But at the end of the day, after rewatching it, not even rewatching it, when I heard the news of the doctors uh, talking about the laceration, I think it was of the eye of the retina, I'm like, well, shit. We can't deny physical. we can't deny that.
Yeah.
You know that kind of changed my perspective on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, you know, I don't feel like he was robbed. I didn't really feel like he was robbed at the time. I just thought it was bullshit on Munoz's fault on part
Mm-hmm. That's
at
what
the
I
time.
thought too.
At the time, and I'll send my apologies Pedro's way, because laceration of the eye sounds painful.
Oh yeah.
It just sounds painful. You're not supposed to get lacerations on your eye, your retina at
Yeah.
that. I don't even
Yeah.
say. I don't even
Exactly.
use that. It might be like the seventh time in my life I've used the word retina. Like, both of them, like the other 5 times were no, the other 4 times were in science class. The other 2 times were on this show. So, like, you know, like it might be like the seventh, sixth time I ever used retina in my life. So, uh, it just sounds painful. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like he was robbed or anything. I think the doctors did the right thing. If he said he couldn't see, he couldn't see. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just say, "Well, I didn't see anything." Get in there and fight, which we all wanted to, but
Mm-hmm.
after the doctors examined and do their thing, he got his injury.
Yeah. You can't deny that when it's a doctor's diagnosis and analysis on it. So it's like, okay, I guess it did happen.
Right. What do you say after that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well, how
but
did
I
it get
mean,
there? Because Sean didn't touch him. Like,
yeah, I would have thought maybe it was like maybe something they did just for that, and it didn't like the pain or the feeling of it didn't kick in till like that little like arm stick up.
right. Right.
Yeah. I know one thing though with this, regardless of the eye poke, the fact that it was performing so flawlessly against Patriots only kind of like makes me feel like this is a deserving fight for Sean for to patch up against Peter on, which he got up now. So I definitely want to talk about that one.
Man, I mean, when I saw the headline, it took me about 20 minutes because I was on a phone call at work, but it took me about 20 minutes to like register who they matched him up against. I was like, oh, okay. You want to break the top 10. You want a title shot. You want to be known as one of the best, if not the best bantamweight in the UFC, in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you get there. This is how you solidify that spot in one fight. Peter Yan, you know, some say Yan still should have been the champ. That Sterling shouldn't even have gotten the title in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So going out, you got 2 things to do here. Number one, compete and compete well. Because win, lose, or draw, if you show out in this fight, you solidify your top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Win, lose, or draw. You solidify your top 10 if you show out in this fight. To me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that.
Especially in this division.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's why I feel like this is such an important fight for Sean. Because I mean, if this is a case where it ends up being free thing where Sean gets just like starts cold in the first round, then then that's like a jab to his level. But otherwise, as you say, if he shows out, even if it's win, lose, or draw, if he shows out and he puts up a performance and he actually puts the money where his mouth is and takes it to Peter Yan, then that would only solidify his rankings and put him up higher. Because Peter Yan, he's a monster. He's just
Yeah,
he's vicious. The way he's
he's
so relentless and he's just a well-rounded fighter and just all the stuff that he does. Like I'm just that he does every so while, and I'm like, bro, there's a reason why he's number 2, if not should be the champion. He's vicious.
no, and you said number one, or if not the champ. without getting into the political side of that, you know, TJ Dillashaw is another one. Me and you talked about this last episode. Who would he
Mhm.
fight next? And it's crazy. A couple days later, they come up and answer our question, but they're listening. Go ahead, Dana. Make us official. We'll do this for you. But no, it's good to see that, you know, because we talked about it, like, okay, does he fight Dominic Cruz? That's not a good matchup. That's not a good style matchup for him. For Dominic, that's just a bad matchup for UFC, stylistically,
Mhm.
you know. And then we talked about Rob Font, which we both agreed Rob Font wouldn't be a bad matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
You
it
know,
would be a fair matchup.
yes, yes, Douglas
Mhm.
Douglas is still fighting, John. He is still fighting from what I know as of today. So update from Bellator was he was still fighting. He did miss weight, however.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
he'll have to forfeit about like 30% of his purse.
hmm but again, this is big for O'Malley. I'm rooting for him, Arizona boy. Uh,
Mhm.
this puts double pressure on Mark. Mark, you gotta win this. You gotta win this fight. Get your fighter. Get the, you know what I'm saying, get inked up for that,
Mhm.
and go back into the octi. Get another one in before Christmas, Mark. Get another one in before Christmas, and take care
Mhm.
of the prize tomorrow. Get another one in for before Christmas. You gotta, you know, keep them
Exactly.
in the keep putting checks in the column.
Exactly. I'm holding him to that too. With once he breaks the top 10 rankings, we're gonna do shots. I'm holding him to that. I'm waiting for that day. It's gonna be so epic too.
Yeah, wherever it's at, wherever it's at.
Mhm.
Hopefully that fight's in Vegas.
Right. In Vegas, and it's not like at New York or anything like that, or just somewhere far off in the north.
New York in December, right?
Oh boy, that'd be bad. I'd be
Nah,
frosty. I'd be way too frosty.
shots of hot cocoa, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely. I'm waiting for that fight. That fight's gonna be good. This
Mhm.
October, it seems so far away. Seems so
I
far away.
know.
God.
Bro, I turned 26 in October.
Huh?
I turned 26 in October. It blows my mind that I'm getting this old, even though I'm still young.
Bro, we're not even gonna go there. I'll be 36 in September.
Bro, you
Ah,
don't day over.
I know. It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse.
You still get ID'd.
Right. This is
Oh
another
yeah.
one though. This is what makes that 280 card such a good card. Such a good card. Uh, what do you feel about this? First off,
I get goosebumps thinking about it. Like I got goosebumps now just thinking about what type of war this is gonna be. Because you have like this is Tony versus Habib 2.0. You got it with Charles and you got it with Islam, and you just don't know how it's gonna go. You have just the indestructible fierce and ferociousness of Dagestani wrestlers versus Charles, who had the like most elite, most infectious, and just most overwhelming type of jujitsu and ground game. So I hope it's a boring fight where it's mostly just kind of stuck on the ground and they're in that battle. I hope that they do stand and trade, but this is a jaw dropper, hands down. Whatever the decision it is, it's going to be a jaw dropper.
I tell you this: if it's a ground game, I don't think it will be a ground game. They're both too dangerous. Um, they're both too dangerous. I mean, and people forget, you know, Charles dangerous on the ground too, like dangerous. So I think it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be like a UFC Xbox match, man. It's gonna be all over the place. Um, we're gonna see creativity from the
Mhm.
striking. We're gonna see creativity from the ground. We're going to see creativity in the clinch. This is going to be a war. And more than anything is that the legacy that Charles can submit in literally 4 fights. Michael Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje, Islam. That's a freaking hell of a 4-fight winning streak.
Right? Like you always have the criticisms for Packer or that take it too easy, especially once they become champion. Like the recent criticism that is, but bro, you look at not only the style of fight that he went against them, but just the way that he went them. I think people will want to see Makhachev can go the distance. Honestly, I feel like it may be if they're pretty tied up, it could go to the distance, but I'm not sure. I think it'll probably end like somewhere between like the second or third.
If this thing goes the distance, bro, there's injuries. If this thing goes the difference, both these fighters are injured afterwards. Like, I don't see, like, I honestly see a finish in like the second round, like you said. Like, I honestly, so Islam has back-to-back first round finishes, a submission and a KO. And then freaking Charles is coming off a first round submission. Charles has finished his last 3 fights. And Islam has finished his last 3. No, shoot. Islam finished his last 4 fights. So I just don't see it going the distance. Not these two. It's going to be a war. This might be a trilogy setup. Like, seriously, this could be a possible trilogy setup, because after this, if Islam does lose this, your next fight, Islam, is either whoever don't get the rematch. Whoever don't get the rematch with Charles, if Charles wins this fight. So if it's either going to be, well, I don't think it's going to be Poirier again. Well, I mean, that's who it's going to be. It's going to be one of those 3.
Yeah, because or he may just like be for like shits and giggles. He will fight with Conor McGregor just to pull in that payday. But yeah,
he got to.
I feel like that person. Exactly.
Like, he got to give him. Like, it's not like we're talking like a Max Holloway, type of situation, because Gaethje, Poirier, shoot, Ferguson beat him. Like, I mean, no, Ferguson did beat him, but I mean, I don't know, man. You got to give him a rematch.
Exactly, and it's like, who's left really in the division to go through? And like I said, he's not even trying to play it safe in the fights. He's putting himself out there in high risk situations for those early finishes, and why I don't feel like he'll go the distance, because Charles, he was just straight up standing exchanging with Justin Gaethje, and Gaethje is notorious for having hammers for fists, and he will send you to the 5th dimension if he gets you clean enough. And you saw Charles get rocked a couple times, but he still came back. And then he started rocking Justin, got him, and then got the choke and everything. And so I don't know if Islam is going to try to play it safe in a sense with that as well, or if he's going to be just as risky. But again, it's just well, the distance I can't truthfully see it with just style matchup and what these 2 fighters are capable of. And then just for afterwards, like Islam, he could possibly get a matchup, lose a matchup with Poirier or Gaethje, since they had beef before, or if he gets straight back into that rematch, and then whatever's in store for Charles.
Right, because I mean, at the end of the day, Charles is about to be, the division is about to be done. It's about to be a wrap.
Mm.
And this is really the last fight. Like we've already discussed, this is really his last fight before, you have somebody like, either he moves up or Alexander, like something has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be a freaking war. It's gonna be a
It
freaking
is.
war either way, and I'm here to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know that there's going to be so much social media drive for it too, because it's the Dagestani fans, the Russian fans, and everything. They are hardcore dedicated, and they love this family so much.
Islam.
And just
Hmm.
yeah, and then you have Charles as well, where he's coming from, and just all the support and the fan base he has. You know that this is just going to be a massive pay-per-view seller.
No, it really is, man, and I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be great. It's great for the sport. It's great for the division itself. Um, Again, it's gonna be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna
And I
be a
think
good one.
Yeah, and I think we'll have to the question to Dana White again. Why aren't there more divisions? Be so much more opportunity for Charles, as well as for everybody else in the division too.
Right, because now you got four people hostage in this division if Islam loses. If Islam
Mm,
loses, you got four of the best fighters in UFC stuck.
mm-hmm.
Literally, four of the top 15 fighters are just going to be stuck
Yeah, and
because
they won't have
Charles is
anywhere
going
else
to
to go.
be, yeah, he's going to be prancing around with the belt, and he's going to be like, I'm looking for other stuff for a minute, guys. Hold up, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him one
Yeah,
bit. We just talked
yeah,
about it, how everybody has an expiration date. Everybody has a time where it's time for you to stop fighting.
yeah. So live it up while you can.
So, two guys to switch the narrative a little bit. Um, before we do, I mean, yeah, you're right, John. But again, I mean, I still feel like that's a hostage fight. It's a hostage fight because okay, he beats him. Well, we're gonna go fight Justin and then Dustin and then what? Then we hope that Charles is ready for a rematch. Like
Mm-hmm.
all three of them want a rematch. Dustin, Justin, Islam. If he loses, he's gonna want a rematch. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I think that's a hostage fight to me.
Yeah.
But here's one. We just had Devin Ray on last week. What was it? I think 3 weeks ago, maybe I had on Enrique.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then Devin broke the news because I didn't know. So Devin broke the news to us last week on the show. This is gonna be a great fight.
Yeah, it is. I dropped when he broke the news last time. I was like, wait, you're gonna fight against Enrique? Boy, am I excited for this.
Both of us paused. We're like, what?
Right.
No, I really am. From a fan perspective, I'm excited. The energy levels, like I said it so many times, the energy levels that both these guys bring, to the octagon is superb. To see that energy clash in the middle of the octagon is going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. It's really, if you guys have not caught a rough event, I definitely vouch for this one. It is going to be one for the ages. They're setting up a really, really good event on August 6th.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good fights. setup on this card. It really is. Now, I don't think we got too much into uh, you and what you do. So you have tell them a little bit about what you do in with your gym.
So I primarily train when I can train out of yours and um she- she's a former Olympic handball player, both in Argentina and in the UK. And then she's also part of like Rampage Jackson. She trained with Uriah Hall, May Miller, I think a couple times with Chris Cyborg as well. So like Patrick Boffman, he primarily trains out of Fiors. I know Devin, he fought combat, with just street from Fiors Gym, and Trenton Byers as well as Brandon Elizondo, who's all fighting on that card. And I've watched training when I have been there to like record content. He's a hard worker. Like it's from what I saw with Devin, especially, he's a hard worker. He just keeps grinding, and I feel, as I've said before, like a bunch of other Lake Havasu has a very underrated fan base and just draw for the combat sports and MMA, and that's what I really like about it, is bringing that passion that we have here in Havasu.
Right. And that's one thing that we here at ASAP, we try to help out, especially is target uh, the up and coming promotions, the up and coming leagues and things, and just like you're saying, there's cities out here that have fighters that are really, really down and really into this, and they're trying to make a name for themselves, like Lake Havasu, Phoenix, Arizona in general. We just started making ourselves a name in general in the MMA scene as of the last few years. So, we're definitely coming. We're definitely coming. I know that you had mentioned Trenton Byers. He will also be on the fight card August 6th. He's fighting Antonio Ruiz. This is another really good fight. Um, you know, Arizona has a handful of really talented fighters on its list right now. A
Yeah.
handful. Our circuit, I talk about it all the time on here, and any chance that I do get, the Arizona circuit's growing stronger every single year. We really are.
It is.
Another fighter that we kind of deal with the over at the lab. She's fighting is Kayla Reagan. She's fighting out of the I said the lab. Baker's MMA. She's fighting out of Baker's MMA. That's Enrique, Austin Worms, and them.
Yeah, that's in Surprise, right?
Right. Another guy that I'm excited to see on this particular card. It was one of my first shows, and he was actually my first post-fight interview live. He's fighting. His name is Derek Frieda.
Okay.
So I saw him. He had a dominant performance as well. We had a quick interview together. So he's fighting. I think this is his second fight there.
Oh, dang.
That was back in October.
I'm gonna have to reach out to him actually here in a few days, because I have to I have to reach out to all the fighters for the card, get their fighter bio info to get a setup for this event. So I'm probably gonna be reaching out to Derek here in a couple days.
Nice. When you do, you should just tell him to come on down to the Ponderosa. Come on down to the Ponderosa. Been a while. But
I'll be like,
yeah,
hey,
man.
Jay, he said, what's up?
Yeah, tell him he said he needs to come on by.
Exactly.
No, but it's gonna be a really good fight. I'm excited.
I'm definitely impressed with this card. This card is going to be stacked, and I'm going to be so happy to attend this one.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Me too. So we are getting close to our clock out time. So switching the narrative. Anything that you want to talk about before we go today?
Let's see. I think there was something that I was wanting to talk about. Oh yeah. So Khamzat Chimaev versus Nate Diaz. I wanted to talk on that for a minute. I don't know if that's actually true or not, though.
I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is. I think it is because Nate. I think that Nate wanted to fight him. Um, it's a dangerous fight for the UFC. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
dangerous fight. Them hands work magic over there at Diaz's camp. It don't matter which Diaz you get. You just better hope when you knock on the door, not a Diaz come out the door. Cause boy, them brothers, boy, and whoever, it don't matter who you are. I don't care if your jaw is made out of bricks. If you are in the ring or in the octagon, and there's a Diaz brother on the other side, there's a slight chance that you might have a dream in the octagon that day. There's a very slight chance you might have
Yeah.
a dream in the octagon that day.
I mean, look at Leon Edwards. He almost if that round went on for even just a minute, even 30 seconds longer, Leon Edwards seeing birds and stars, he would have dreamt.
He was on his way out. He was on his way out. And but that's just the thing. Like when they book that card, it's like, man, you're taking a big risk because he might just knock him out. Then what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like a double-edged sword because you don't if Nick Diaz wins, then it kind of derails the hype train and then all the cash flow that comes in from such my of course always bounce back. One fight is one fight. But then also like my opinion time as well is I feel just a little bit it's kind of a dirty fight against Diaz in a sense of like you the fighters that are getting to walk door, they're just kind of given the of like this strong comer just to kind of do dirt and to kind of like get him out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, uh, that's like their farewell to him, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, to put him against Hamzat Chimaev, like even with his performance against Gilbert Burns, which Gilbert Burns is a freaking monster, it's
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's kind of interesting farewell, I would say. I don't want to put any name or disrespect on the Diaz brothers. I fucking love them. They're so badass and everything. And Nate Diaz in particular has been the person I always kind of emphasize with taking too much damage. And I feel like he'd be a fighter that unfortunately would kind of damage would stack up over time. But he's just been done dirty a lot of times in the fighting game. And I don't want him to see getting done dirty.
Out of all the fighters, out of all the time I spent watching the UFC, I mean, going back to Chuck Liddell and Tim Sylvia and Matt Hughes and Newton and all the greats.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Shamrock was and Tito Ortiz. That battle was great. But Nate Diaz gave you that happy balance of I can say whatever the fuck I want to because I'm gonna do what the fuck I say in the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought a lot of times Nate Diaz won fights that he wasn't better than that opponent. It was just Nate Diaz had more heart at that time.
Yeah.
And to me, Nate is like one of my favorite fighters because I always speak to little kids on here. You always see that when we have interviews, when we have athletes on my shows, I always tell them like what would you say you were a kid once? What would you say to you back then? And Nate Diaz is one of those guys where you could be like, hey kid, watch this. No, he's not perfect. Nate Diaz gets in trouble out of the octagon all the time. He's not always in the freaking media for the greatest things. He's not the most gifted fighter. He's really not. But his heart, like the what he brings to the ring, is at any moment, like I said earlier, at any moment, you can be dreaming in the octagon.
Hmm. Exactly. And that's what I've always loved his style of fighting too, because he's not the type of guy that just immediately goes out throwing 100% or even 80%. It's the pitter patter shot. It's the numbers that keeps adding up. And it just small cracks are forming on that granite jaw until it just falls to pieces.
Yeah, you're right. It's a bunch of little stress cracks until it's too much, and
Hmm. Next thing you know, he's dreaming and he's seeing Jesus. He's walking through the garden. He didn't have any chit chat. Wakes up 2 hours later at the hospital. Like, what the hell happened?
right. One thing I did want to talk about before I got out of here is Ryan Garcia. Did you happen to
Mhm.
catch the Ryan Garcia Fortuna fight?
I was working at the time of the fight, which sucked, but there was actually I had a guest in my place that was watching, so I saw a bit of it. So I he had 3 knockdowns and everything.
If anyone has doubts on Ryan Garcia, they should have been answered in that fight. Ryan Garcia is here to stay. Ryan Garcia is one of the best athletes in his division. But that brings me to Gervonta Davis.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Is he ready? And not even is he ready. Not that's not the question. That is not the question. Because he's ready.
Mhm.
He's a great fighter. But this is I'm gonna take it back and before people, take my take my stuff, take it out of context. I'm not comparing him to this guy. But I'm gonna take it back to Canelo and Mayweather.
Mhm.
Canelo took that fight 2 or 3 fights premature.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 fights later, Canelo and Mayweather's fight's different. Does he still lose? Maybe, but his performance is better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And
remember actually Canelo was actually telling Ryan Garcia that he's not ready to take Gervonta yet.
because I think that right now he's still floating on that magic carpet. Like he's still sitting next to Aladdin right now. And I say that in a sense that no one rocked him. Like rocked him. No one's put him, when you're playing that video game and your health gets into the red, you just start flashing and stuff. Like, hey,
Mhm.
go, you know what I'm saying? Don't get hit again.
Yeah.
He ain't been there yet.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
And Gervonta Davis hits hard. Like,
Yeah, he does.
it's
Yeah, he
different.
does. I know Luke Campbell, he did get the drop and did drop Ryan Garcia that one time. So that makes me curious with Gervonta with because it takes that one shot. And if Ryan Garcia would get caught like that again, that's where I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, it's Ryan Garcia, I'd say hands down is one of my favorite ball now because he got me into it. But other than that, you don't see really anybody really putting a test on Ryan. He's that good. He's that good. Luke Campbell's the only one who's ever got a bit of advantage. But then he even
I mean, what? See, here's the thing to me. Here's the thing that bothers me about it the most is that Gervonta's a 3 division champ at one time. Or is he
Mhm.
still 3 division champ? I think he still is. But basically he's dealt with bigger. He's usually stronger maybe not imposing his will bigger wise physically, but he's usually stronger than his opponents. He's usually just as fast, if not quicker. And Ryan Garcia, from what I've seen of his last few fights coming up, he's been that guy in those fights. So getting him in, I just don't think he's ready. We agreed. I don't, and again, no disrespect to Ryan Garcia. I'm rooting for him. I'm in his corner. I like the dude. He's one of my favorite fighters right now coming up.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be Canelo'd.
Yeah. Exactly. Because it's I agree with that 100%. Ryan Garcia, one of my favorite boxers, and I don't want him to get thrown to the wolves too quickly. I want to see him put a couple more fight in, like tougher opponents. Like, to be honest, this dude that he just fought, the reason why I wasn't really nervous at all is I knew Ryan, he was going to win it. It was going to be a dominant performance. And so I want to see like the next step up and then maybe take on Tank. Because I know he's also putting Devin Haney in the air as well. But I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one either. But Gervonta, Tank Davis, maybe 2-3 more fights. And then it'll be ready.
I mean, yeah, because here's the thing. If he loses to Gervonta, you know how boxing is.
Yep.
Yeah. You know how boxing is. Then he's thrown into it. Then he's just a number. Then he's just a number after that. Like Rolly Romero. Honestly, Romero could have played it different against Gervonta and would have still been able to come out of there okay. But he talked so much outlandish shit in the press conference and then got beat like that. Done. Boxing fans would he's never nope. Yep. You're done. You'll never sell a pay-per-view.
Yep, exactly. If you're gonna talk all that shit and then you can't put your money where your mouth is, then yeah, who's gonna watch it? There's gonna be okay, I believe this is gonna happen. It's like okay.
Right. You gotta go in, it gotta be 10 rounds before you can be laying on your back. You said you was gonna destroy this man. And he was a sorry boxer, and everybody before him didn't understand him. All this just disrespectful stuff. And then you end up on a ring table, an announcer table. You end up like it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely wanted to talk about that. I think Ryan, you know what's best for Ryan, but as a fan, I hope you get 1, maybe 2 more fights in.
Yep.
I want to see Gervonta Davis though. I want to see it.
Yep. Hands down. Because sometimes you never know. It's that Ryan speed. That speed too is just so devastating.
Yeah, it is. He was pity-patting Fortuna, just pack it. And then he and there was a switch, because that's what it was funny. Because Ryan said before the fight, I'm gonna take it easy the first 3 rounds, and then I'm gonna turn it on afterwards because he doesn't go, Fortuna doesn't go good into the middle rounds, in the middle of the late rounds. And at the middle of the 3rd, he hit him with, I think, like a short right, just straight right hand. And it like stumbled him, and it looked like Ryan was about to go all out right there, but it looked like he kind of held back because of his game plan, and then he just came out and whooped him. So I don't know. You're right. That speed, he does seem to have power. He has the height. We'll see, man. I just hope I don't want to see it Canelo'd. I was confident with Canelo going into the Mayweather fight. I'm like, Canelo's a great fighter. There's no wrong I can say about him. There's no X's I can say that he needs to do this, this, or this. Like, there was nothing there that I was like, okay, there's no signs. It was just Mayweather was one of the best ever. That's it.
Exactly.
Should have been the only sign I needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I don't want him to be Canelo either. I hope Ryan Garcia, he gets those couple more fights in and we'll see the Tank fight.
Right. All we can do is hope. We'll see. We'll see. Wait for an announcement. One of the two, either they'll be getting announced together, or one of them will be getting announced with a different fight. So we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly.
But I guess it is time again to exit for the week. Big day tomorrow with Bellator. Hopefully we get some post-fight interviews. We'll have some more of your interview clips posted up. You can find those on YouTube right now. All Sports, All Plays Network on YouTube. Of course, if you haven't followed all of our other social media platform pages, please go ahead and click subscribe on them. Help us out. That's we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
You got a full list right there for it too. You know which ones to click on.
Looking to add more soon. And of course, ASAP Sports is always looking for sponsors. So if you're out there and you're looking to get your company sponsored, we are nationwide. We are everywhere. Of course, we run the ASAP AZ division, but we are everywhere. So if you need your company sponsored, want to get on ASAP, reach out. But I'm out of here. I thank you again, Josh.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Always happy to be on, man.
All right, till next week.
All right, peace.
Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays.
Rebel soul child got a fist balled. I'm a respawn of ancestors and I'm blessed, They gon' knock him, tell him fess up. I get checked up, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless. Yeah, I got next up, right? No, we not the same, cause see when I look in your iris, you likely to talk but not ready to ride. You do better keeping it quiet. My pen is ignited, my soul is enlightened. I like who I am, but I'm biased. The palette is right, and my drip is a fountain. I'm not like these regular